question of seeing it as a problem, there's a huge weight of empirical evidence showing that farming is by far the greatest cause of habitat destruction, of wildlife loss, of extinction, of land use, which is perhaps the most important environmental metric of all, of soil degradation, of freshwater use, and one of the greatest causes of climate breakdown, of water pollution and of air pollution. So it's not just a matter of opinion, this is the industry which comes top of the list of all damaging human activities. Now, of course we need it.
Yes, except what you haven't mentioned there is that over that millennia...
who's in Burnley, about how this is affecting people there, as well as our political correspondent, Tamara Cohen, who's in Westminster. But first, let's cross over to Sky's business presenter, Ian King, who's in the city for us. Ian, just tell us more about what's fueling this increase, this eye-watering increase.
Well, you've taken me through most of the salient points, Vanessa. As I say, food price inflation was 12.7% during the month, and that was down, as you said, to a lot of staples, not only dairy products, but bread, cereal, meat and vegetables. Not only in the supermarkets as well, it also had a knock-on effect of pushing up takeaway prices. But then there were a whole broader range of elements as well contributing to this number. They included package holidays. Now, that was actually something that was expected to have increased in price. Obviously, there's big demand this year for package holidays, and costs of tour operators have gone up, partly due to the chaos at airports, but also down to higher fuel prices, for example. And fuel, it's worth pointing out, is still a major contributory factor to higher inflation. The number came in significantly, as you said, higher than expected. The market was looking for around 9.8%, so 10.1%, appreciably ahead of expectations. It actually takes us back to February 1982, even before the Falklands War. Prince William wasn't even born when inflation was this high, and I really think that brings it home. It may bring it home to people. For the vast majority of Britons, they will have not seen anything like this in their adult lives. So we are really in unprecedented times. Worth pointing out that high street shop inflation was also pretty high. The ONS, the Office for National Statistics, actually cited that in their release this morning. July tends to be a period where high street prices tend to be quite benign, but on the high street you saw the highest levels of inflation in July since 1988. So it really is across the piece. Now, as you said, the real question is what happens from here. It really does highlight, I think, the pressure that the Bank of England is under. Obviously, they raised interest rates by 0.5% earlier this month, which was the biggest increase since 1995. And I think these numbers will really push the bank towards raising interest rates by a similar order again next month. That's on top, of course, of the robust jobs figures that we had yesterday. The dilemma that the bank has, of course, though, is that if they tighten monetary policy too aggressively, you risk tipping the economy into a recession. Now, there is a bit of light on the horizon because we are seeing inflationary pressures abating in some parts of the world now. If you look at commodity prices, for example, they are well off the peaks that they hit in the immediate aftermath of Vladimir Putin's attack on Ukraine. And indeed, if you look at crude oil, well, Brent crude this morning right now is trading at around $91.90 a barrel. That is actually at its lowest level since before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So there are a few crumbs of comfort that people may take from then. But as the Bank of England has said, Beecher's Brook really is going to be in October. That's when you get the next increase in the energy price cap. That is inevitably going to have a knock-on effect on inflation at that time. You're probably looking at around 13.3%. But it's certainly true that after that, you're expecting probably to see inflation coming off the boil, assuming that we continue to see the current trends that we are right now. But that will not come as any comfort to people grappling with inflation as it is here and now.
Ian, thank you. Well, let's speak now to Fraser Maud, who's at a community hub in Burnley. The Lancashire town is one of the hardest hit by the cost of living crisis. And Fraser, what impact is it having on people where you are?
Well, as you say, it is one of the hardest hit areas. Inflation here is about 2.5% higher than the national average, about 3% higher than it is in London. So the people who are affected here are potentially the worst affected in the entire country. They're really feeling the pinch. And at community hubs like this that offer food banks, that offer help and advice, they're seeing more and more people coming in every day, every week, and a change in the type of people who are coming in as well. Pastor Mick Fleming is the man who runs this community hub, the church on the street here, and he said you can really see a change in the demographics of people using services like this.
We're seeing kind of more homelessness on the back of people not being able to pay the top-ups for the rents and things like that. So yeah, it's a frightening thing that we're seeing. So we're seeing the working poor and the retired poor. That's a new dynamic, and that's growing really quickly. And these are the people that can't extend their income. So we're seeing people that there's not an out at the back end for them. So they can't, there's nothing they can do about it. They have to accept it how it is. And that's frightening, absolutely frightening to us.
So absolutely frightening, says Pastor Mick. I can have a chat now with one of the service users, also a volunteer here at the Church on the Street, Mandy Cook. Mandy, times are getting tough. Just how are you making ends meet at the moment?
Well, it is a real struggle, do you know what I mean? Because the inflation has gone higher and higher. I've even noticed a lot of people what are struggling, and it's no good really, but if it wasn't for the hub, do you know what I mean? It's good that they come into the hub, but I've seen people saying, oh, we can't afford this. And I've seen people putting stuff back in supermarkets because the prices have just gone up. And it is ridiculous, the prices.
So where are you noticing the pinch? Is it when you go and do your shop?
Shopping, the bills. I've noticed with my bills, you know, they've gone from like basically £80 to like £130 and £140. And other people have been talking about it. I've heard people talking about it around in town. I've even heard people talking about it in, you know, in the hub, you know, a church on the street. And you know, it's hard for them. Do you know what I mean? It's like this morning, you know, I was talking to one woman and she said that she's having to give her house up and everything because she can't afford to run it. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, it just astounding.
So when you go and do your shopping, do you really notice the difference in what you can afford?
Yes, definitely. No, I did. I used to go and spend £50. I used to come out with about 7 shopping bags. I spend £50 now. I'm coming out with like 3 shopping bags, 4 shopping bags. Prices have gone from like to £2 to £3.50 an item. Do you know what I mean? Like bread's gone from like £1 to £2. Do you know what I mean? So it is expensive. Do you know what I mean? And they're wondering why people are struggling. There's more and more people, you know, can't handle it and cope with the increase of all the bills and the food.
I mean, you mentioned people coping with it there. Here at the Church on the Street, they're now in partnership with the NHS to offer mental health support and so on, and more people are needing that support now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely needing more and more support now. It's like they're having problems with medication. They're having to pay for it. Sometimes now we've been on universal credit, so they come here, there's NHS, there's mental health workers here, and it does help them, it does support them, you know what I mean? I've seen people come in here upset and I've seen them going out a bit more happier and content because they've got somewhere safe to come and discuss what they need to discuss. You know, and help them with bills, help them with food, help them with clothing, you know, talk to them if they're depressed and anxiety. You know, it is a wonderful place. They even feed them here, do you know what I mean? You get bacon, you can get cereal, fruit, and it's what you need, do you know what I mean? It's what God has provided everybody with.
And it's becoming more and more of a necessary lifeline.
It is, yeah. There's more and more people coming in now, more and more, and it's just crazy how things have just changed. And I think people are going to be even worse off before, like, November and December comes this year. You know what I mean? There's probably going to be more and more coming in. And, you know, I think this is why a lot of people are committing suicide, because they are having a lot of financial problems, they're having problems with, like, in the relationships, because, you know, they haven't got enough income coming and they can't afford this and they can't afford that, because it's wrong, do you know what I mean? The government should try and help a little bit more, but they are trying their best, but I don't know, I just think it's crazy.
Mandy, look, thanks ever so much for talking to us, just explaining there the problems that people are facing here, the impact that that's having on people's mental health as well. It's a situation that isn't likely to get better anytime soon, and as we move into winter with the increase in home fuel bills as well, you can only imagine that the situation's going to get much, much worse.
Fraser in Burnley, thank you. Well, the Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi has said about the rise, I understand that times are tough and people are worried about increases in prices that countries around the world are facing. Getting inflation under control is my top priority, and we are taking action through strong, independent monetary policy, responsible tax and spending decisions and reforms to boost productivity and growth. Well, let's go now to our political correspondent, Tamara Cohen, who's in Westminster for us. And Tamara, the Chancellor there, Nadhim Zahawi, is saying the government is taking action. What action exactly is it taking?
Well, how are the government supporting people during these tough times the Chancellor talked about? Well, we know that no more support is going to be forthcoming while Boris Johnson is Prime Minister, but some support has been announced already. That is the £650 cost of living payments to the most vulnerable people. Some people will have received that already. Then for most people who pay their energy bills by direct debit, the government will be giving people back £400. Now, it is over 6 months, starting in October, so about £66 a month given back to you from your energy bills. And both the leadership candidates, both Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, have said they would stick with that policy. So that's happening. But that scheme was devised when we were looking at energy bills being £2,000 a year. We're now looking at probably over £4,000 a year in the coming months. And when we asked the Cabinet Minister Kit Malthouse this morning about what the government were doing in the short term, he defended Boris Johnson's approach. We also heard from Labour's Yvette Cooper. Here they both are.
We're still running our Help for Households campaign. They're working with the private sector to see what they can do to assist. There's lots of work ongoing, A, to get ourselves in shape, but B, to promote and push out the current support schemes, which are pretty huge by our standards.
What is the Prime Minister's level of involvement in any of this?
Well, as I say, the Prime Minister, I think he was at the meeting with the fuel companies, the energy companies, just last week.
That was between his holidays, yeah.
To monitor what they're doing. And he's staying in touch and being briefed by his staff at Number 10, I would imagine.
We need action now. That's why Labour's put forward this plan for an energy price freeze. So no one has to pay an extra penny on their energy bills through the winter, because otherwise, if we don't get that action, bills are likely to go up by another £1,000. That is on top of the over 10% inflation that people are already seeing. And if you don't take that action, inflation is going to go up even higher.
Now, there have been calls from a number of organisations for whoever is Prime Minister to announce support now. But we've had a lot of vague statements from Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss as to what support either of them would offer if they do get into Number 10. Rishi Sunak has said people can rely on him to give more support across the board. He's talked about hundreds of pounds per household, but not any more specifically than that. Liz Truss, on the other hand, her campaign has talked about targeted support without saying who would get that, maybe just people on benefits, and said that she would prioritise tax cuts, which, as has been pointed out by Rishi Sunak's campaign, benefit the better off a lot more than those at the bottom of the income spectrum. Rishi Sunak's campaign has gone so far as to say that her plans would leave millions of people tipped into destitution at a hustings in Scotland last night. So both campaigns making clear that they will be in Number 10, perhaps before we know the full scale of support they will offer. But it will be only next week when we find out what exactly the energy price cap is going to be for the next few months. And all the predictions are that it's going to be very grim.
Tamara in Westminster, thank you. And in the next hour, we'll have a special programme on the cost of living crisis from our correspondent, Nick Martin. You can watch it at 11:30 and throughout the day here on Sky News. Now, it's been called the worst treatment disaster in the history of the NHS. Hundreds of people infected with HIV and hepatitis C through contaminated blood products in the 1970s and 80s. After decades of campaigning and denial of government responsibility, compensation has finally been announced for survivors. But there's real anger from some children and relatives of those affected who do not qualify. Our home editor, Jason Farrell, has this report.
My name's Andrew Evans. I was infected through haemophilia treatment at the age of 5 with HIV and hepatitis C. I developed full-blown AIDS at the age of 16 and barely managed to survive to the age of 20.
Andrew is one of an estimated 4,000 victims who survived what's been labelled the worst treatment disaster in NHS history, where patients were infected with HIV and hepatitis C through contaminated blood products. It's thought around 2,400 people died. Many suffered in silence because of public attitudes to HIV.
The stigma was still so strong against those people, frightened me to death. And so I kept everything completely under wraps as far as that was concerned. I told nobody at school. I I didn't tell even my best friends about it until it became absolutely apparent that there was, something going on, that I was ill, and I couldn't hide it anymore.
The evidence I shall give
shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
After decades of campaigning, an inquiry was launched in 2018. Former health secretaries and a prime minister gave evidence, no one accepting blame or the argument for compensation.
What had happened to them was incredibly bad luck.
But campaigners say it was incompetence, reckless blood collecting methods in the US and a lack of checks when imported to the UK. The inquiries recommended compensation, and now the government has announced each victim will get £100,000.
Obviously, it's a very welcome sum of money. If you split £100,000 over 40 years of being infected, it's £2,500 a year. It will help at the moment, for me personally, to do what I want to do most, which is to secure my family's future. But I'm also very aware of the people that this doesn't deal with at the moment.
I'm Lauren Denise Palmer, and I lost both my parents back when I was 9 years old.
Lauren was orphaned by the scandal. Her father was given infected blood and died of AIDS in August 1993. He unknowingly infected her mother, who died in the same month. While spouses of victims will get compensation, parents who lost children or children who lost their parents won't get a payout.
How can they have this differentiation and this hierarchy between bereaved families? All their lives matter just as much as the next person. I haven't been able to lead a normal life as such, where I've got the stability of having two parents for support and to go through education and go to uni, be able to stay at home long enough to save, to put a deposit on a home. So I haven't done any of that.
This is a victory for people like Andrew, but decades late. And many, like Lauren, who've suffered, are still waiting for recognition. Jason Farrell, Sky News.
Well, earlier, Cabinet Minister Kit Malthouse told Sky News that although eligibility for payments is complex, payments will end up going to people in the end.
There's no doubt about it that the many years of campaigning that lots of people put in should not have had to happen, right? There should have been, as far as I could see, an early acknowledgement that there had been an issue, that a tragedy, that a scandal had unfolded. My job now is to drive that through and make sure the money gets into people's hands as quickly as we possibly can. But look, there are more complicated circumstances than we are currently addressing around eligibility, not just infected and bereaved partners, but there are others, as you said, parents, children, other relatives. Now, that is more complicated, as Sir Brian Langstaff has said in his inquiry, and we will get to them in the end. As remember, this is an interim position. And I'm pleased
get to them in the end. I mean, that's the assurance that people are looking for.
Well, certainly that's where the inquiry is going, right? So when Sir Brian made the recommendations to the government, which we're fulfilling today, he did acknowledge that there would be disappointment in some other groups, that it was more complicated to work out eligibility and scope with them, but that in time we would get there.
An elderly man riding a mobility scooter has been stabbed to death in West London. The attack happened on Caton Road in Greenford in Ealing at just after 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. Well, joining me now from the scene is Sky's Ivor Bennett. And Ivor, just bring us up to date with the latest on the scene.
Yeah, it's a really shocking attack, this. It happened yesterday afternoon in broad daylight, sometime between 3 and 4 o'clock here, where that blue crime scene tent has been pitched. And it's right next to, as you can probably tell, a very busy main road. This is the A40 going into London. It is very busy all the time and would have been yesterday afternoon when this happened. The man, who's believed to be in his 80s, was in a mobility scooter at the time when he was stabbed. Police were called, paramedics, an air ambulance was even dispatched, but the man was declared dead here at the scene yesterday afternoon. A crime scene is still in place. A police cordon, police officers are here. Forensics experts have been working through the night as their investigation gets underway to try and identify who was responsible for what police are calling a horrific attack. Now, earlier this morning, I spoke to the man who lives in the house at the end of the road, and it's on his doorstep where the incident happened. He says he has CCTV footage of the incident unfolding. In it, he says, a group of young people who he believes to be teenagers can be seen surrounding the victim.
I see a group of people, well, a couple of people in the first place talking to him, and then he just went past my house, and there was a stop where the tent is now, and there was some more people gathered around his mobility scooter.
Now, the man hasn't been named formally, but Mr. Coutinho, who you heard from there, says he was known well around these parts because he was often seen here on his mobility scooter. And Mr. Coutinho said he was a nice man who was always smiling. And given what's happened, Mr. Coutinho says that he and his family are now afraid to go outside. This area to this side of where the incident happened is very residential. There are a lot of families living here, pensioners, but this side, as I say, is this very busy main road. It would have been busy when it happened, and that's why police are now appealing to anyone who was driving past at the time, who may have seen something, perhaps may have caught something on dash cam footage, to come forward now.
Ivor in West London, thank you. You're watching Sky News today. Coming up, could you have a number plate on your bicycle soon? The proposed law changes that could affect those on two wheels.
The Ukrainian government is confirming that they are now engaged with Russian soldiers. Air raid sirens fill the airways.
In the distance, artillery rains down.
It feels very close to the centre of... There's one.
They found this devastation to their apartment.
Lots of people live here. Quite a few of the windows of the houses have been blown out by the blast.
And it feels that it's changing each day.
Independent, United Kingdom.
These last few years have seen some huge stories. And these stories have been driven by politics, by politicians, the people in power.
You must stay at home.
And it's my job to figure out how these decisions made by politicians impact all of us in our everyday lives.
This is the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. People turn up here with their child stuff in a black sack and just say, I don't want to.
And that is what it is. It's first-class poverty.
Is this an example of the welfare state failing?
We take you to the heart of the stories that shape our world.
These are stories that affect us all. Millions of children are now having to catch up. Some stories have changed all of our lives. Because like the residents, the staff are being infected. Politicians, they make decisions all of the time, and it's our job to hold them to account.
I wonder if you will take this opportunity to apologise to those families.
But in the end, the real power doesn't actually lie with the politicians. The real power lies with the people. I'm Nick Martin. I'm the People and Politics correspondent at Sky News.
Welcome back. Cyclists may have to get a licence and insurance to ride their bikes soon. It's after the government suggested that it will tighten rules to bring them in line with car users and crack down on dangerous cycling. Well, joining me now is Sky's correspondent Matthew Thompson. And Matthew, in theory, it's easy for the government to float this idea, but in practice, it won't be so straightforward. And not to mention the fact that many cyclists will be wondering, well, what's the incentive for them if they're going to be burdened with the same responsibilities as car drivers?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing to bear in mind is that we have to accept that a minister saying that there ought to be a law is a little bit removed from there actually being a law, although there is a transport bill planned for the autumn. So the idea would be that this proposal was potentially filled into the transport bill later this year. But certainly Grant Shapps, the Transport Secretary, saying to a number of newspapers in an interview this morning that he thinks cyclists ought to obey some of the same speed limits and other rules of the road that motorists do. And that raises the possibility that cyclists might potentially get points on their licence, certainly fines for speeding, running red lights and the like. But yes, you're right, cyclists wonder, well, what's the incentive for them? Two major flaws jump out. First of all, the reason it's easy to enforce speed limits for motorists is because they have licence plates. So should cyclists all have licence plates? Grant Shapps tells The Times this morning he doesn't think that should be the case, but clearly for this to work and be enforced there would need to be some sort of identifying marks on bikes. The second thing cyclists have said to me this morning is, well, generally speaking, they have no idea at any one moment what speed they're going at. So is the government going to give them speedometers? So let's say, having spoken to a number of people in the streets of Wandsworth this morning, the idea has had mixed reviews. Here's what a few people had to tell me.
It's not the worst idea, actually, because as a cyclist, if you are going between the pedestrians, it's kind of, it can be kind of dangerous.
Looking at your speed when you're cycling and worrying about things like that don't make people safer.
Safety first, it will help, but then we need to make sure that we have all the regulation around this.
And just one final potential hiccup is that Grant Shapps, the Transport Secretary, may only be in that role for, well, another 3 weeks or so. So perhaps launching policy initiatives like this just before there's a cabinet reshuffle under a new Prime Minister is slightly hostage to fortune, let's say.
South East London, thank you. South West London, that is. Thank you. Well, let's see how the weather is shaping up.
Warm memories wherever you go.
PR Interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially with... Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based
Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Body it's your ma. Bekutu show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
In your car. At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you're listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr
UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
All around the world.
Welcome.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Radio UK.
You gave your life a living sacrifice, love divine, so compelling, you show the way.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We salute each and every one of you and we say welcome to the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Today is Wednesday, the 17th day of August, the year 2022. Time now 10:29 from the hearts of London. And it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. So from now till 12 o'clock, we'll bring the program to a close. I'm going to be your captain, but let me say good morning to my team. Mr. Olayomi, massive good morning to you. And Mr. Francis Gaye, my able producer. Massive good morning to you all. And to all of you wonderful people who are listening to us today. Sir Moses, good morning. Tassino, good morning. Anthony Adedeji, good morning. Aziz, good morning. Amaya Jergini, good morning to you. Miss Gold, good morning or good afternoon. To all our listeners across the globe, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, as I say it all the time, if it's making the headlines, we're going to touch on it. So grab yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate, and let's make this journey. Or somebody say, let's take this journey. Let me say good morning to the Americans, to the Europeans, to the Asians, and then to the Aussies as well. And a special one goes to the...
You gave your life a living sacrifice.
My lovely African continent. My Nigerian listeners, Ghanaians, Liberians, Ugandans, Kenyans. South Africa, in Uganda, Tiso Radio. Our sister company there, and all the team there, I say massive good morning to you. Okay, 10:41 the time. If it's the first time of tuning in to listen to us, this is how the program goes on Wednesdays. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, and the travel updates as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. And at 11 o'clock, we'll bring you updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi. The program continues from dance. At 11:30, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. At 12 o'clock, the first part of the program will be brought to a close. Now, normally, we should take you to the House of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time, but because they are on recess, so we'll not be taking you there. But next week, God willing, we'll be taking you to Holy Road, where the Scottish Parliament will have resumed. And then we'll have a look at what is going on there until Westminster resumes. Okay, Playing in the background, something from Theodora Gospel, Pastor Theodora Boachi and Son, and it says, have your way, God, have your way in my life. Okay, the quote for the day says, to say success is by luck is to agree that you can achieve your goals by chance and not by deliberate, conscious design and effort. So it's not by luck. You have to work in it. I mean, luck does happen. Yes. Fortune do happen to us, but plan something. Have something in your mind. That's why the good book says that commit your ways into the hands of the Lord, and He will establish it. So you should have something that you want to commit into the hands of the Lord, right?
You gave your life,
and it's one of those.
living sacrifice, love divine, so compelling. You show the way that I.
Okay, let's start ready. Okay, let's move on straight to the weather front.
Now I give my all. Take my heart.
Well, when it comes to the weather front, this is what is happening today. Well, landing on the southeast of England, during this afternoon, there's going to be further heavy showers developing, and this frequent in places with a few thunderstorms likely. This evening, showers will tend to ease and dwindle in number. Overnight, it will become largely dry and some clear spells, but the occasional shower will likely linger in places. Upper temperature 23 degrees, the lowest 16 degrees. Pollen level is going to be moderate. UV level, low. Pollution is very high. Sunset 2020 and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 05:48 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It is Starr Radio UK. Let's take a commercial break. We come back and then we have a look at what your travel should be or is like today, wherever you might be. Stay tuned.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
This is Starr Radio UK. All around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, and we keep you navigated. A new jingle for that. Okay, so on your travel this morning, apart from the Jubilee line that is partly suspended and has got severe delays, all the others have got good service there. But let me bring you details of that. Now, there's no service between Green Park and Canary Wharf while they respond to a fire alert. No service between Wembley Park and Stanmore due to trespassers on the track. Severe delays on the rest of the line. Tickets are being accepted on London buses, the DLR, and the Elizabeth line. Keep your eyes on the roads, and keep you navigated. The London Overground has got good service, DLR and London Tram in good service there as well.
This is
Keep your eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you navigated, I promise, our bond. Now, moving on to the major roads in London, A1, A2, A24, A4, A40, Central London Red Routes, South Circular A205 have all got closures. That aside, all the others have got good service or no exceptional delays there. But keep your eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you navigated. Now, moving on straight to the river bus. As you know, apart from the Woolwich ferry that is still suspended, all the others have got good service. A travel update that comes your way every weekday at 10:40 or from 10:40. It's now 10:46. Now the final segment of the travel update, that's the National Rail. We've got Avanti West Coast that's got special service, East Midland Railway, severe delays, First Transparent Express, minor delays, Mersey Rail, special service, Northern Rail, minor delays, Southeastern, special service, and Thames Link, severe delays. So if you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them. Other than that, let me say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today. But you know what? continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. Bring the time now to 11 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's now time for Global Trotting, where we look at all the stories making the rounds across the globe. But well, interestingly, when it comes to updates from Nigeria, one of the stories that we're going to be looking at, interestingly, an Greek minister under the Buhari in the Buhari regime, okay, managed to clear clear bush. So what kind of bush is it? Is it a whole northern part of Nigeria that was being cleared? That cost the state worth 18.9 billion naira. Goodness me. Is it job for the boys or what? And the ASU strike continues as Buhari regime fails to accede lectures demands. Well, they're saying that, there's a stalemate. So checkmate. Now, I'm not going to move. The ASU says they're not going to move. So what is going to happen? What about the poor students who are still, 6 months plus waiting to go back to uni? Spoiling their time, their chances on earth. My goodness. Now, ease of doing business. Osibanjo says it's challenging coordinating federal agencies parastatals. Now, so do you think that maybe some people are calling for the break of the country because it looks like it's too big for them to be able to have the know-how or the technology to be able to work it all out? Okay, so maybe the best bet is if the center cannot hold, let's break it apart and let it go in separate ways and let others do whatever they want to do with this, as some people are clamoring for. Now, what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A lot more going to be coming your way from there. Why I met with Peter Obi, others, Autumn is saying, Peter Obi, weekend's meeting, you shouldn't sleep well. Juan Bunwa tells Atiko, well, he's been on the fight with Atiko, but well, now ethnic tension, Igbo and Yoruba, beware. What tension is all that about? I'm going to try to bring you some details of that, but once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, we're going to be looking at that. And Fire Gas Shopping Mall in Lagos. Okay. Just bear with us whilst we try to run the story, which I'll be bringing your way in a moment when we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Ethnic tension, Igbo and Yoruba, beware. What is all that about? And that is from Dr. Promise Adiele. Okay, we'll be looking more into that as well. Now, moving on to Ghana as well. Your social intervention programs may collapse the economy. IFS to the government, but the IFS seems not to. The government seems not to care about anything. Now, 148,000 workers' identification do not match with Ghana card biometric IDs. That's what the vice president is saying. What mistake has been done? Okay, we'll be looking more into that. And then 3 Opoku Ware SHS students arrested for robbery. What will cause students to go robbery? Okay, we'll be looking more into those stories as well. And then NDC Northern Regional Chairman has also passed away. And then one from Ajua Safo. Okay, is that I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity Ajua Safo to Akufo-Addo, the president. So we'll be looking more into those stories as well. Now, when it comes to some other stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. Okay, just bear with us. More gonna be coming your way. Baumia does not have roots in MPP. Kwesi Pratt is saying. And then the 5 big cases being investigated by the special prosecutor. The present prosecutor is saying that he's extending his investigation to that ports and harbor issue that went on, extending it a bit further now. So it's going to be raking in more people. Okay. Okay, and Etu Adwasafuka said that he has returned to the United States. Why? Does he want to now live there or what? Some more of the issues that are going to be discussed in a moment. And I don't implement new customs law. Vehicle declares dealers urge government. Don't implement new customs law. Vehicle dealers urge government. Well, those of us in the diaspora who send things back home, and that's something to do with us as well. Now, Kenya's Odinga rejects presidential poll results, heads to Supreme Court. The 77-year-old man has been beaten by the 55-year-old man, and he seemed to say, no, I think there was a foul play, and therefore decided to embark on a mission to the Supreme Court. Now, Kenyan's opposition figure Raila Odinga said Tuesday the presidential election results declared by the country's electoral chairman were null and void. Now, speaking on the day after the deputy president William Ruto was declared the winner, Odinga told the crowd in Nairobi, "What we saw yesterday was a travesty and a blatant disregard for the constitution and the laws of Kenya by Wafula Chibukati, the minority of IEBC commissioners." Now, I'll be telling you more about that during the course of the program. Now, do you think 77? Okay, somebody will say, take the back seat, man. Allow some young person to take the reins. Or is it because maybe he's been told from time immemorial that you'll be a president one day? Or maybe because the dad was also one of the forerunners. Was the dad a president or a prime minister as well? And then he was of the view that, yes, I'm going to be a president. And up to now, he's not been. And in 77, I think that this is his last chance to be a president. And therefore, he reckons, or he himself and his supporters reckon that there has been some anomalies there. But what do you think about all that? We'll be looking more into that in a moment. Now, Trump arch enemy Liz Cheney ousted in Wyoming vote. The 3-term congresswoman is trounced by a relative political newcomer and Trump-backed candidate. Well, that doesn't mean that Trump still have got a momentum that he can actually outwit some of the Republicans who supported or were bashing him. We'll be looking more into that as well. Scientists hope to revive extinct Tasmanian tiger. Oh my goodness, these people, they won't let us rest. So now, experts behind the project claim the technology for de-extinction already exists, but others are skeptical. Are they going to just clone something and bring it our way? What is going to happen there? Now, Biden signs climate tax and health bill into law. The president hails the $700 billion act as the final piece of his domestic agenda. And will that sway voters in the midterm elections? That's another question that has been asked. Now, Cuba relaxes foreign investor rules amid crisis. Growing shortages of basic goods have led the government to end Fidel Castro's 63-year-old legacy. Well, so what is going to happen there? Now, Sarah Palin seeks comeback in Alaska election that largely left spotlight before she largely left the spotlight before the 2016 election of Donald Trump, who has become her key ally. So is she going to come? Now, Russia blames sabotage for new Crimea blast and arms depot is hit a week after an apparent Ukrainian attack on another military base in Crimea. Okay, so there's some stories making the round. Is it looking like maybe Russia is now on the back foot or what? But we'll be looking more into that. The cost of food and drink has pushed UK inflation to 10.1. Now inflation hits double digits with basic goods like bread, cereal, milk, and eggs driving the latest hike. Now, sewage pollution alerts made for almost 50 beaches. Untreated sewage has been discharged into the sea and around the coast following heavy rains. There are some of the stories making the rounds. And Thames Water hosepipe ban to start next week. Thames Water, which supplies water to 10 million customers in the south of England, starts the ban on 24th of August. So we'll be watching that very, very closely. And a very sad situation. An elderly man on mobility scooter has been stabbed to death. Police say the man, believed to be in his 80s, died at the scene after being attacked in West London. Now, what kind of world do we live in where children, youth, do not show respect to the elderly? I'm not saying that go and take their bags and go. No. But well, I hope the perpetrators are brought to justice. And whatever happened there, that's a sad one. They cannot help the older person. Just stay out of their way. But not go and kill them. But let me say once again, good morning to Miss Gold. He says, good afternoon. That's from the UAE. And he said, waiting for Mr. Koiki. Definitely Mr. Koiki will be joining us in the next few moments. But wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't you go away. Let's enjoy the rest of this song. And then once we come back, we'll be bringing you Mr. Olayomi Koiki.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
That I may follow you, Lord. You gave your all. Now I give my all. You gave your life. I'm living sacrifice. Love divine.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
You show the way that I may follow you, Lord. You gave your all. Now I give my all. Take my heart. Take my heart. Take my life. Take my life. Take my way. Take my way. Have your way. Have your way. Lord, take my heart. Take my heart. Take my life. Take my life. Take my way. Take my way.
Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Have Your Way by Theodore Gospel this morning. Well, may God have His way in us in this dying and very challenging times. But some way, somehow, God does have His way in our lives, and I pray that may Nigeria not happen to you, as we say on this platform. But wherever you are, hope that you are able to go about your duties and the things that you are doing there as well. Well, it is a Wednesday edition of the morning show, and you know at this juncture that we should have Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining us, and I can tell you shortly that he is in the house. And let me say, massive good morning to you, Mr. Olayomi Koiki.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe, and welcome to the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This is Star Radio UK, and this is the morning edition of where we look at the news coming out of Nigeria. And I say welcome once again to those of you that have joined us so far this morning.
Yes, how are you doing, sir?
Well, as usual, when you're alive, there's a lot to be grateful about. I'm very grateful. That is the most important thing. And there is still a lot, to do, when we are still alive, which is also a very massive priority. So I'm doing very well. And like I said, as usual, like you always say, there is a lot that we can do to the world. And that is what exactly we are doing so far. And we can only be grateful, for the Almighty Creator. Depending on which one that you serve, because we have quite a lot of people that serve different things, but one thing is there's something out there, and we have to be grateful that we are alive, to partake in what is actually going on in the world of today.
Well, we have to partake in that. You have life, and there is a chance for you. But we are here to bring you all the information that will make your life more easier or create the awareness that you need to know, and you can plan your way how you go. All right then. So, how was your night? I think the weather is changing a bit better now, so it seems that sleeping was a bit better than it's been of late.
Well, you're quite right. I think the weather is becoming much more, endurable, if you want to put it that way. As much as the weather is still a little bit, but it's still much better than what we have, some few, months back. But it seems everybody's becoming much more, tolerant to the weather. In as much as long as you have, the window wide open, that definitely gives you, the upper edge as well. But as we always say, make sure you have a lot of drinking water. And I believe tomorrow, for those that will be traveling I'm sure you're going to be updating, but there will be a strike. I think some of the overground train. Mm-hmm. So make sure also that remember that the buses will be extremely packed, and that would also mean that there will be a lot, when it comes to the conversation, if you're traveling, on the rail network tomorrow. So make sure you prepare for that, because it will get very, very busy, and that means that there will also be delays. So plan the journey very well as you are traveling tomorrow. But one thing is, Star Radio UK will be giving you all the updates that you need to know for tomorrow.
Okay. Yes. So a word of advice from Mr. Olayomi Koiki to you wherever you are listening to us from. And once again, we say welcome to the program. Miss Gold. Yes, Koiki is here now. Good. All right then. Now, Yomi, tell me. I know that at times you have gardens in your place, and at times you go sit there. We do clear those things from time to time. But maybe buying a mower, or maybe you need a tractor. If maybe it's a bit bigger than that, a bigger mower, would that cost you up to a tune of 18.9 billion naira to clear a bush? What kind of bush was that? Was it an Achimota? What kind of bush was that?
There's a lot that comes out when it comes to some of the headlines in the news of Nigeria, but I think by now a lot of Nigerians are no longer surprised. Just yesterday, about 17 billion was eaten by termite, which I'm going to see if I can get that news as well. But you're quite right. The news coming out of Nigeria in one of the headlines says the Agri Ministry have actually spent 18.9 billion naira to clear bushes, according to the House of Reps. What kind of bushes are we talking about? let's go into a little bit further. According to the Nigerian Agriculture Ministry, have now spent a total whopping of 18.9 billion on bush clearing during the COVID-19, according to the House of Representatives. I'm not sure why they have to clear the bushes during the COVID-19 when actually more Nigerians needed food in the table to support them as at the time when there's a lot of poverty. And I think if I bring the engineer to give us a back screen of how Nigerians were literally running up and down, when they were able to detect food that was locked somewhere, by some of the politicians in each of the states. And some of these food were meant to be for the purpose of giving to the community. But like you said, 18 billion naira was what was eventually spent by the same government, and I think the engineers got that ready. So what you're actually looking at is, during the COVID-19, according to Wole Oke, the chairman of the House of Representative Committee on Public Accounts, says the ministry disclosed this while they were responding to a probe on how 18 billion was eventually spent, according to the government when it comes to money for the clearing of the bushes. The ministry is subject to investigation, according to the House of Committee, into our 18 billion contract for bush clearing, preparing the ground, restoring the soil plant and laboratory. All this was actually taking place as at the time where images like these was traveling across Nigeria. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Well, it's mind-boggling. Because one, during that time, there was COVID, but should that be the priority? Because people were desperate. Now, with the scenes behind you, we see people who were looting warehouses because they were desperate to survive. Now, and government using 18.9 billion naira to be clearing bush. Was it even? Were they trying to even grow some cassava or some yam or something? Just my goodness.
Well, I mean, Nigeria is a very funny country, and as much as fun it is, it's actually having a big impact, on a lot of Nigerians as well. And we've heard about snake have actually swallowed the money, monkey have swallowed the money. And it seems, all these continue to go on as much as there's a probe, but there's no end result, to such probe as well. And like I said, there is so much pressure in the country. We talked about the inflation yesterday. I know we haven't got much time today, but I will be looking at some of these things later on, during the Niger Voices at 8 p.m. later on tonight. But as we speak right now, as we're talking about the insecurity, we're talking about, the economy, we're talking about the electricity. I was actually comparing Finland with Nigeria today. And when you look at, the population of Finland, which is just about 6 million, and you look at their GDP, they're actually using agriculture as part of their GDP, apart from, the other technology that they're using as well. But today, Nigeria cannot even feed, Nigerians, not to talk about exporting anything out of Nigeria. So like we said, there's a lot of pressure, but this is what we see, and we can only continue to ask the question, what have been done with 18 billion that eventually led to probe from the House committee this time around?
Well, what is going to be the end result? Are these people going to be prosecuted, or what is going to happen, or just a slap on the wrist? What is going to happen there? Now, Moyiwa Senegal says, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Koike and Archie, for bringing the work to our doorsteps. And Miss Gold said, good to see you, Mr. Koike. And let me say good morning to Pastor Emmanuel Chidi. Man of God, thank you very, very much for your support. I really, really, really cherish that. Okay. Because it's a Wednesday edition of the morning show and we are pressed with time, so we'll just crack on straight. Now, ASU strike continues as Buhari regime fails to accede lectures demands. So there's still a stalemate. What is the next move?
Well, the next move is the government has not actually come into an agreement, with ASU, and that means the deadlock is still ongoing. February was the last time student was able to get into the university. There was a meeting between the academic staff union of the university and the federal government yesterday, but that ended in a deadlock as we have it. According to what we know, the federal government team met with the representative of ASU at the headquarters of the National University Commission, and the meet with the federal government team that was headed by Professor Nimi Briggs. It started about 12 p.m., ended about 3 p.m. There was no new offer on the table. They simply beg us to call off the strike, according to the top official. I'm not seeing where, it seems that the federal government have lost control completely of the current situation. And as we speak right now, the question is, who is facing the burden? The student will continue to face the burden because we're now in August. And since there's still a deadlock, nobody knows when actually the university will be going back to school.
Well, listeners, those are some of the stories making the rounds there in Nigeria. But let's move on straight to one other. Buhari can borrow money. Because we're talking about the ASU strike, it's all demands. So money. But the APC chairman is saying that, look, Buhari can borrow money for Nigeria till eternity. It doesn't matter the debt that the country is incurring. It can just go on. So maybe he needs to go and borrow some money for the ASU people as well. What do you think?
Well, they've been borrowing money in the first place, and the money continued to be borrowed. But what the money has been used for is what a lot of Nigerians continue to ask. I mean, the government will borrow because they will need the money, according to them, to do a lot of projects. You're quite right. The APC chairman Adamu is now justifying the rising debt. Adamu says the Buhari government might need to borrow to keep Nigeria running because countries like United States, which is comparing to, and United Kingdom and France also take World Bank loan. The national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has stated that the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government can borrow money till eternity for the country so long as the money is being geared towards infrastructure development. Adamu said the Buhari government might need to borrow to keep Nigeria running just as other countries. According to the Debt Management Office, today, 40 trillion naira is what we have surpassed in March this year, 2022. The estimate government budget for 2022 was 17.32 trillion naira, which is about 18% more than what we had in 2021. As we know that the budget recurrent non-debt spending is expected to be 6.9 trillion naira, about 40% overall expenditure, which is 20% more than the budget for 2021. He was speaking with one of the media back in Nigeria on Monday. Adamu said, "I remember very well. I thought you believe me that I have no quarrel with the issues of government borrowing. Government can borrow from here till eternity."
Now, as he was saying, there's nothing wrong with borrowing, but as to whether the money that has been borrowed is being used for the purpose, and we're not seeing people clearing rubbish or bush with 18.9 billion. I mean, whether we are getting value for money that we are actually, spending. That is the question, the problem there. But listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the main studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria. Let me now leave the ball into your court and bring us the rest of the stories. Over to you.
Well, we're just going to touch one or two stories because of the Wednesday edition. We have to go to the PMQ as well this morning. If you're watching us, exactly 18 minutes past 11 a.m., the 17th of August 2022. Ease of doing business. Osibajo says it is challenging coordinating the federal agency parastatals. You will expect that the government will be able to handle and work with all the parastatals to make sure that things are done in accordance without to ease the business in Nigeria. To have the kind of business environment that our country deserves, it is the hard work at the sub-national level that will really move the needle, according to the Vice President. Vice President Osibajo says state government and their agencies have a significant role in ensuring enabling environment for businesses to strive, noting that it has been challenging trying to coordinate federal agency and the parastatals. The question is, what could be, this bottleneck that is giving the government, tough time, to coordinate this, kind of coordination. I remember the trader money. We were currently in Nigeria as at the time when they were doing the campaign for the trader money. Money was given to farmers, or market traders rather, and I'm not sure whether some of them have been able to return, this money as we speak right now. So again, it goes back to the function of the local government. Here in the UK and so many other countries, the role of the local government is very, very key, in supporting the businesses, because as we remember during the COVID, the government was supporting the local government here in UK, while the local government was supporting, the small scale businesses, because if otherwise there will be collapse in business. We got to know this from the spokesman of Mr. Yemi Osibajo, the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja yesterday, says the Vice President that spoke during the virtual meeting of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment, and that is the headline, ease of doing business. Osibajo says it is challenging coordinating the federal agency and parastatal. Maybe when the country breaks, that will be very much easy, and there will not be too much bottleneck from Abuja. I'm going to take two more, come back straight to you in the studio. Terrorist Masari in Ilorin to pray for peace in Katsina. Terrorists have become one of the biggest problems in Nigeria today. The prayer session was led by the chief imam of the university, Kamaluddin Al-Mubarak, and it attracted prominent Islamic scholars from across the country. Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina has attended a special prayer section organized to restore peace and security to Katsina in Ilorin and Kwara. Mr. Masari Media disclosed this today in Katsina. The prayer section was organized by Dr. Abdurrahim Oladimeji, the founder of Al-Hikmah University Ilorin, for restoration of peace in Katsina and Nigeria. I'm not sure how and what they mean by prayer to restore peace. I mean, in the world that we live today, you don't allow prayer, to resolve security issues. You go after the terrorists, you provide the basic amenities that is needed by the security agency to go after these terrorists. But in Nigeria, everything has become a prayer section. So according to him, the prayer section that was led by the chief imam of the university, Kamaluddin Al-Mubarak, and it also attracted prominent Islamic scholar from the country. What a country Nigeria is, that we are using prayer to resolve the security. I'm not sure whether you're doing the same thing in Ghana. Mr. Archie probably be able to tell me that. But I'll take the last one, then come back again to you in the studio. And the last one is 18-year-old student was nabbed for attempting to kidnap a college. I'll take that again, 1 minute. 18-year-old student nabbed for attempting to kidnap College of Fishery provost. Why could a student like to kidnap, one of their provosts? The NSDC says the student conspired with another student now at large to write a letter threatening to kidnap the provost if he failed to pay ransom. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has now arrested an 18-year-old student for attempting to kidnap the provost of the College of Fishery in New Busa. On Wednesday, the NSDC spokesman in Niger, Nasir Abdullahi, said in a statement that the student was arrested on August 10. And the NSDC said the student conspired with another student now at large to write a letter to threaten to kidnap the provost after he failed to pay a ransom. Star Radio UK, because of the time, I'm going to slightly come back to you in the studio where we look at some of these headlines. And later on tonight on Niger Voices, there will be room to discuss everything that you need to know when it comes to headlines coming out of Nigeria as well.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi keep bringing you updates from Nigeria, but interestingly, some of the stories that he puts across resonates with what is happening in Ghana as well. No wonder Ghana and Nigeria, they are brothers and sisters. When it comes to, resorting to prayer, when it comes to, terrorist activities, like you were saying, logistics needs to be given to the security agencies to fight this. And for them, this is one thing that troubles me. Katsina is where the president hails from. And if they are now calling for prayers to actually stabilize the security issue there, then we are in big trouble. We are in big trouble.
Well, you're quite right. I think what we've done is rather than tackling the problem, we've actually just as so many Nigerians wake up every day hoping that prayer will solve all the problems, while countries like Finland, as an example, are going into a massive industrialized economy and producing so much that the world is needed to use, whether in technology, in agriculture. but rather in Nigeria, a lot of people expect a miracle to happen. So if the governors are doing this by asking, prayer to solve terrorism in Nigeria, then we are all in big problem. And like you say, Castina is the president, home as we speak right now. Remember, his convoy was attacked, some few weeks ago when they were preparing, the president, expectation, during the Islamic, festival that took place not too long ago. But for how long are we going to be praying, to resolve the insecurity in the country, as against making sure that people are well equipped, especially the security forces, to stop the menace of the kidnapping and terrorism that is happening in Nigeria today?
Well, when you talked about there's some students who were planning to abduct or kidnap or and take ransom from the provice in one of the universities. Interestingly, Ghana, 3 students were arrested in one of the senior secondary schools for going to rob.
probably maybe there's a communication between the two of them.
It's sad. Now, my problem is desperate situations call for desperate measures. When people cannot fend for themselves, they think that they have to do anything, which some is law. I mean, it's against the law, but they will have to do that to survive. Okay, like I'm not saying that we all have to do that. Assuming I think that the state cannot protect me, and I think that there are terrorists who want to attack me, I'll go get myself a gun by myself. Though I know that it's illegal, and I'll go shoot people who I think that they are enemies who want to attack me. So I think it's about time that the government sit up, and with what Osibanjo was saying pertaining to businesses, it's a very sad situation. Sad if the federal government cannot actually control everything that is going on and comes to business, and everything is you cannot merge things together easily. Then we have a problem. Then while some people are calling for separation or cessation has to happen. About what do you think? We want to have your take on that. It is Starr Radio UK. Yomi, let me come back to you for some of the other stories.
We're going to go straight to the social media, like I said, 11:26 because of the time this morning, which is a Wednesday edition, and that takes us to the PMQ at about 12 p.m. There is this news that I've just been traveling in Nigeria as well, where a kidnapper was sentenced to 7 years, as another kidnapper was also sentenced. So let's look at what Chidi Odikalu had to say. They are both professional kidnappers whose dead victims include officers of Nigerian security services. One got death sentence, the other has been sentenced to 7 years, could be out of prison by 2025. Guess who? So there's 2 different criminals as we have them. We'll see if we can get the image up quickly, where 2 of them, one has been sentenced to death while the other has just been given 7 years. And a lot of Nigerians are now asking the question, what kind of law, is these kidnappers? So this is the one that has been given 7 years, and let's get the engineer to get that image out, much properly. So what you're looking right there is a very criminal kidnapper per se, but he's been given 7 years. And it could be out, in the prison in the next 2026. While this particular one that is just popping up right there has been sentenced to death. He's also a criminal, a kidnapper that has created a lot of havoc in Nigeria. So is the law for particular ethnic groups again? Because this particular one is from the southeast, while this particular one is from the north of the country as well. So, why do we get 2 different laws served, to 2 different individuals is the question that individual have asked. And I was listening to a lot of other media in Nigeria, and they've been really discussing, the issue. I will come back and see if we can give a background a little bit more to these 2 individuals. But for now, because of the time, I'm just going to go straight to other stories on the social media as well. Before your contestant general of Nigeria, your very own Raila Odinga, and this is coming from Neferati. 2009 Atiku contested, 2003 Atiku contested, 7 he contested, 2015 he contested, 2023 Atiku contesting. Going from the above, I hereby nominate Atiku for the position of contester general of the Federal Republic. Actually, what is going on there? Let's take a look at one more. and then we come back again to you in the studio. Once again, Macon Omo Hobo. Let's join hands to fight the water resources bill. It is a rape on the indigenous people of Nigeria. For over 5 decades, the oil of the Niger Delta have been stolen, leaving these people in squalor and abject poverty. Now you want their water. What about your gold and other mineral resources in the north? You know, these are individuals that also believe that the indigenous people have really been marginalized in Nigeria of today. We go for the next one once again. If you've just joined us, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So let's take a look at what is trending when it comes to the self-determination this morning. We'll have more time later on this evening. Yoruba Nation says 10 hidden things you most probably did not know about the Nigerian 1999 Constitution. So later on tonight, I will have more time, to tell you a little bit about that as well. And the next one is, the Chief of Staff yesterday actually says Niger Republic and Chad, part of Nigeria, says Buhari Chief of Staff Gambari, and that has created a lot of conversation as we speak right now on the social media. So we saw in the last couple of days, Nigeria has donated money. The JF says they donated donkey to support the fight for Nigeria during the Biafra war. So let me see what people are saying. The mouthpiece, they should even extend it to Libya. Who cares? But all we care is for Biafra to be free from such Islamic bondage. That is coming from that. Also, at Comrade, Gambari says Niger Republic, Chad, and similar neighboring nations were artificially removed from Nigeria by the European colonial government. But if forgot the South and the North were also artificially merged, can we go back to the original plan?
Wow. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Before Yomi goes, let me just quickly ask you about this sentencing issue where one has been sentenced to death and then one has been sentenced to, I think, a 7-year or 8 years prison, had been given a 7 or 8 years prison sentence. Now, where were both of them, where did the case take place or arrested?
Well, I mean, both of them are real criminals, kingpin. So let me bring back, the image back again on, once again, this is Starr Radio UK, as the engineer is going to do that. Yeah. So he has been sentenced just about some few days ago. His name is the Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced a kidnapped kingpin, Amusu Bala, also known as Udomi, and 2 others to 7 years imprisonment. Justice Binta Nyako convicted Udomi of 2 of the 13-count charges against him and 2 others. Udomi was charged alongside Aliyu Daji, a police inspector, Alua Bala, Uba Bala, Bashu Waziri, Zubiru Abdullahi, and Raimu Abdullahi. They were prosecuted by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation on 13-count charge. The charges follow the killing of 3 police officers, 2 civilians on August 6, 2019 by some soldiers. The police were from the Intelligent Response Team Abuja had arrested Udomi at Ibi before they were ambushed on the road by a military man that was also trying to get this particular individual escape. 10 military officers earlier charged with the convict, whose trial was separated for departmental reasons, are Captain Tijani Balarebe, Staff Sergeant David Issa. So what actually happened is, in 2019, this individual seems to be working from high-profile, either politicians or some government officials, was arrested by the intelligence unit, but they were also now ambushed by the military, while they were taking him back, to the custody along the route. And some of those that did that are current Nigerian military as at the time, and those are the names that we just mentioned: Private Muhammad Nuru, Lance Corporal Okoze Gideon, Corporal Marcus Michael, Lance Corporal Agbaka, and Staff Agent Abdullahi Adamu, and Private Ebele Mano. The court also convicted Aliyu Daji, a police inspector, who was the station officer at the police headquarters at EB local government area of Taraba State. Remember, we talked about Taraba some few days ago when we played at the United Nations has now been asked to come and intervene. While all this was happening, these were part of the kingpin that were terrorizing people in that particular area. He was arrested, but he was also almost rescued by another military as well. I'm going to get the name of the other person, and then we can discuss about him briefly. But let me come back again to you in the studio first.
Yes. So Udumi. I mean, that's his other name. He has been sentenced to, is it 7 or 8 years? Now, is it the same judge who sat on the case of the other guy from the south?
Well, it's not the same judge, but what we know is, the situation of Nigeria is, it seems there's an interest, to this particular case, which is what I'm just trying to get the other person's name so that we can have a bit of the background of him as well. And I guess the second person was arrested in Lagos. I'm just looking quickly to see if I can get his name out. If otherwise, we will probably talk about it later on.
Yeah.
But it's not the same judge, but it's just that the same crime has been committed, and the question is, why giving one 7 years and giving the other, death sentence is the reason a lot of question has been asked by Nigerians this morning, and quite a lot of people I have seen comment about the case. These are comment. The question that comes to my mind is, what laws apply to their crime? Was it what the court applied? Our takes will be fair if it is based on the legal provisions of their crime rather than what we wish. But like I said, so much conversation, but we might not have it right, whether it's just the law or it's just that, it's just something that needs to be reviewed properly.
Well, listeners, this one case that we'll be looking into that doing on Niger Voices and other programs, or tomorrow we'll be digging deeper into it to find out why one from the north.
The other person was Evans. Evans was also a high-profile criminal in Nigeria, as at the time committing all kind of crime related, money, extortion, killings, and all sorts. So let's go back and look at what we know about Evans. In the last couple of Evans, how police torture me is what he was saying here. Torture me to sign statement implicating me in the kidnap and the dismiss of soldier. I saw the cops of 3 men on his phone, including the picture of him. Also, I was forced to sign the papers because I was scared. A dismissed soldier, Victor Abudo, on Monday denied being an accomplice to the crime of an alleged kidnapper, kingpin Chikuduma alias Evans. Evans created a lot of atrocity during the time before he was actually living in a very, very small suburb area until he was arrested by by the intelligence as at the time. But what we can say is he's been sentenced to death, and the comparison is what we just give. And let me just pop up his picture quickly before coming back again to the studio. So that is the picture of Evans, and the comparison, as you can tell, is what a lot of Nigerians have been discussing on the social media, because Evans and the 2 other defendants were sentenced in February 26, to life imprisonment. The news of the arrest of the kidnapped kingpin Chudumeka alias Evans by the police on June 10, 2017 dominated Nigeria's media space for 12 hours and beyond. His trial continued to hold the attention of the media. Evans was actually arrested at his residence in a very suburb area of Magodo, where he was living quietly, and nobody would have thought he's a kidnapper and a criminal until he was eventually arrested.
Well, as I said, we'll be looking into that story as the days unfold, as to whether they are just using kids' glove for those in the north, and then using a rare button or metal rod to hit the one in the south. We'll be looking into that as the days unfold. But let me say good morning to Lace Dada. It says good morning Olayomi, and morning Archie. Morning to you. We hope you are doing very, very well as well. Listeners, we're going to bring the update from Nigeria to a close. But Yomi, what are we looking at this evening?
Well, this evening we will continue to review the letter that has been sent to the president on behalf of the Yoruba by Professor Banji Akintoye. We're also going to be having a guest that might join us if all goes as planned, that will be discussing about their union that we're having a celebration here in London this weekend. The Lagos State Union Association, is something that they've done yearly that we have participated as well. So we hope to get a little bit about the who they are and what they do as we continue also the campaign whether elections should continue to hold in Nigeria or the total disintegration of Nigeria for those that really wants to go out of Nigeria. So all that is what we're going to be looking at, but make sure you join me at exactly 1800 hours, which is the same time back in Nigeria, 6 p.m. on Star Radio UK.
Okay, Yomi, let me say thank you very much, and we catch up later then.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now exactly to 11:41. And we've got another 19 minutes. So let's go running now, so I can bring you details on some of the stories that I've touched on. Well, your social intervention programs may collapse the economy. IFS is saying to the government of Nana Akufo-Addo in Ghana, and some other stories there as well. 148,000 workers' identification do not match with Ghana card biometric IDs. The Vice President, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, has said a startling 148,000 government workers on the payroll of the Controller and Accountant General Department have been found to have identifications which do not match any biometric identification at the National Identification Authority. According to him, the development was discovered after a biometric audit by the Controller and Accountant General Department. Addressing the 2022 Internal Audit Agency Conference in Accra on Tuesday, August 16, Dr. Bawumia also revealed the Controller General's biometric audit also found 533 workers on government payroll with multiple identities. Well, so which is which? Those who didn't find their details. Is it that they have not been registered? What exactly had gone on there? Where has the mistake been made? So that these people will not, after they've worked, will not be said not to have gotten their pays because our system does not match that until they try to see to match or get everything into equilibrium or get everything to be synchronized. That means that somebody is going to go hungry after they've done all their works. Well. It is All Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. That's our story there. NDC Northern Regional Chairman has passed away. And it says that the Northern Regional Chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Abdullahi Ibrahim Mobila, has died. Family sources have said the popular politician, according to reports, died while receiving a treatment at the intensive care unit at the Tamale Teaching Hospital yesterday afternoon. According to the family sources, burial of the late family chairman, who was also a chief, will commence in line with Islamic traditions since he was a Muslim. Well, so may his soul rest in perfect peace there as well. Okay, some of the stories I will have to leave it till tomorrow, then we can have a look at it. But let me bring you this one, because those of you us in the diaspora, and of course those of you back home who also import vehicles. Now, the Vehicle and Assets Dealers Union of Ghana, the VADOG, has called on government to stop the scheduled implementation of the Customs Amendment Act 2020 Act 891 effective September 1, 2022. Now, they contend that the implementation of the new law will totally collapse the used car dealership industry in the country. According to the VADOG, the passage of the bill will provide huge incentives to the automotive manufacturers and assemblers registered under the Ghana Automotive Manufacturers Development Program, whilst making it extremely difficult for its members to import. Now, speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, the Executive Secretary of VADOG, Mr. Frank Atanle Kofiga, said many of their members will lose their means of livelihood if government proceeds. The bill, if implemented, means the following artisans in the value chain will be affected: Ghana shippers from abroad, clearing agents, towing drivers, straighteners, auto mechanics, auto electricians, auto sprayers, auto AC mechanics, key programmers, upholstery, auto alignment, washing bay attendants, upholstery workers, Uber drivers, truck drivers, spare part drivers, and DVL assistant, Goro boys. He says they will all suffer. But the question is, if you buy a new car, and it's not like you have the means to say every year or every other year you want to change your car, you will have to go buy parts or take the car for servicing. So all these people will have their chance of working on it, unless of course you want to say that because it was assembled at this place, every repair works have to be taken by those people. You got it? So well, I think we'll have to look into it, God willing, tomorrow once again once we come on, whether the clarion call by the vehicle dealers urging government not to implement the new custom law is the right move. But it is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now in Kenya, Kenyan opposition figure Raila Odinga said Tuesday the presidential election results declared by the country's electoral chairman were null and void. Now, speaking on the day after Deputy President William Ruto was declared the winner, Odinga told a crowd in Nairobi, "What we saw yesterday was a travesty and a blatant disregard for the constitution and the laws of the Kenya by Wafula Chibukati, the minority of IEBC commissioners." Now, this was Odinga's first appearance since Kenya's Electoral Commission chairman on Monday declared Ruto the winner with almost 50.5% of the votes. Now, 4 of the 7 commissioners abruptly announced they couldn't support the result. 4 of the 7. And Odinga supporters scuffled with the remaining commissioners at the declaration venue. Now, on Tuesday, the local election observation group announced that its highly regarded prior voting tally corroborates its highly regarded prior voting tally corroborates with the official results in an important check on the process. But Odinga asserted that only the Electoral Commission chairman could see the final results before the declaration. The law does not vest in the chairperson the powers of a dictator, he said, and insisted that decisions by the commission must be taken by consensus. There was no immediate statement from the Electoral Commission or its chairman. A screen of its tallying center that had been showing cumulative presidential election results stopped being updated Saturday and was later turned off. The official form showing final results could not be accessed on the commission's website on Tuesday. Now, Odinga's campaign had expected victory after outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta in a political twist backed his former rival Odinga instead of his own deputy president, with whom he fell out years ago. The 77-year-old Odinga has pursued the presidency for a quarter century. His campaign has 7 days. His campaign has 7 days after Monday's declaration to file a petition with the Supreme Court, which will then have 14 days to make a ruling. So let's see what is going to happen in the next 14 days. Is it going to get a favorable ruling that's going to turn the results and then or annul it, and therefore Kenyans will have to go back to the polls? What do you think is happening there, or do you think is going to happen there? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A man on stage with Archie has spoken out after the attack. He's got a bloody eyes. A moderator on stage with Samuel Raji speaks out after the attack. He has a bruise on his eyes, his right eyes, and a cut there as well. But I'll try to bring you that story, God willing, tomorrow, pertaining to what he might have said there. The Palestinian president Holocaust claim has been condemned He says that Israeli and German leaders have expressed outrage after the Palestinian president accused Israel of committing 50 Holocausts against his people. Now, Mahmoud Abbas made a claim during a news conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin on Tuesday. Now, Mr. Scholz said nothing at the time, but later called President's comment intolerable and unacceptable. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid said Mr. Abbas' accusation was not only a moral disgrace, but a monstrous lie. Now, 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust, including 1.5 million Jewish children. He tweeted, now history will never forgive him. Now, following the criticism, Mr. Abbas reaffirmed in a statement that the Holocaust is the most heinous crime in modern human history. Well, but he reckons that what is happening to his people is 5 times that. So he's looking at the totality of his people. So let's say if there are 1 million, and let's say how many of them have. So he's looking at that magnitude and trying to use. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. But well, why did he say so? Mr. Abbas traveled to Berlin with the aim of winning Germany's support for a bid by the Palestinians to join the United Nations as a full member state, and asking it to help restart long-stalled peace talks with the Israelis. Now, after meeting Mr. Scholz at the Federal Chancellery, the president was asked by reporters whether he planned to apologize to Israel and Germany ahead of the 50th anniversary of the deadly attack by Palestinian militants on Israeli athletes at the Munich Olympics. Now, from 1947 to the present day, Israel has committed 50 massacres in Palestinian villages and cities in Deir Yassin, Tantura, Kafr, Qasim, and many others. Now, 50 massacres, 50 Holocausts, and until today and every day, there are casualties killed by the Israeli military, he added. Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, moving on straight to some other story. In the Caribbean area, now Cuba has relaxed foreign investor rules amid crisis. So if you want to go invest there, well, that's a chance for you. And the story says there. Now, Cuba says it will allow foreign investors into its wholesale and retail trade for the first time in 60 years. The move is a major shift for the island nation communist government and overturns a 1960s Fidel Castro policy of nationalizing retail. But Cuba is now facing its most severe economic crisis in decades, with rising prices and public discontent. The policy aims to tackle shortages of basic goods like food, medicine, and stops short of fully opening the trade. The government officials said that foreign investors will be able to wholly or partially own Cuba's base wholesalers, but retail will not be open to international investors without scrutiny, as a state market has to prevail. Foreign Trade Ministry Minister Betsy Diaz Velasquez said. All right then, so all coming your way from that part of the world. What other story? And then we move on from there. The voters in the U.S. state of Wyoming have ousted Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a rare Republican critic of former President Donald Trump in the primary election. She had been trounced by a relative political newcomer and Trump-backed candidate Harriet Hageman. Now, Ms. Cheney, 56, was one of only 2 members of her party to join the congressional committee investigating Mr. Trump's attempt to cling to power. The 3-term congresswoman was once a rising Republican star. Now, conceding defeat, Ms. Cheney signaled that this was the beginning of a new chapter of her political career. Our work is far from over, she told a group of her supporters, including her father, former Vice President Dick Cheney. All 10 Republicans who voted to impeach Mr. Trump after his supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol building in January last year have been targeted in a scorched earth campaign of revenge. So far, 4 have retired and now 4 have been defeated by his chosen candidates in primary ballots in the states of Wyoming, Washington, Michigan, and South Carolina. Only 2 have successfully maintained their places in the Republican tickets for re-election. Miss Cheney was the last of the 10 to face the Trumpian assault. Now, elsewhere, Republican Sarah Palin, who is eyeing a political comeback, has advanced to November's election in Alaska in the race to represent the state in the House of Representatives. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Let me bring you one story from the UK front, a couple of them, and then we go away. Now, cost of food and drink has pushed inflation to 10.1%. Information coming through is saying, but what is the Bank of England going to do? The UK inflation rate has hit double digits now, 10.1%. The Office of the National Statistics has said it is higher rate than analysts were predicting. The last time price rises were in double digits was in February 1982. Rising food and drink prices made the biggest contribution to the change in the inflation rate between June and July. Now, cereal, milk, cheese and egg had a particular impact on rising prices, but the cost of living is rising across the board, driven partly by energy costs and the Ukraine war, but also factors such as cost of raw materials. Meanwhile, average wage increase are falling behind, with average salary buying 3% fewer goods and services than a year before. Inflation is expected to continue rising this year, with the Bank of England predicting it won't go down to the target 2% for about 2 years. All right then. It is Star Radio UK, and it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story, and then we bring the program to a close. And it's a very, very sad story. As the good book says, honor your father and your mother, and it will be well with you, and you will live long. An elderly man has died after being stabbed while riding a mobility scooter in West London. The Metropolitan Police said emergency services were called to Caton Road, Greenford, just after 16 hours BST on Tuesday. The force said the man, believed to be in his 80s, was treated by paramedics but died at the scene. It is a sixth murder investigation to be launched in London in the last 4 days. Detectives were working to inform the latest victims' next of kin, and no arrests have yet been made. Now, Frasley Cotino, who lives opposite where the man was stabbed to death, said he saw the victim surrounded by a group of youth. He said, I saw a couple of people gathering around him, and then he drove past and stopped further up, and then there was a group of young boys around him. Ms. Cotino said he caught some of the incidents on a CCTV camera, but it had been obscured by a plant. So the police are appealing. The police are appealing for dash cams and those who are riding bicycles who might have images of that sort to come forward. The victim is believed to be one of the oldest homicide victims in London this year. Nicky Lamb said the London community is very worried by the fatal stabbing. Well, a very sad one. And on that note, let me say, have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy your day. I see you all this evening on Niger Voices, and see you tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the morning show. But let me bring you the song whilst I sign out from the Zongo man himself. Is that the problem of Africa? Yes. Enjoy it. See you later.
God.